My name is Dr. Elias Navarro, and I wasn't the first to hear the heartbeat beneath the ruins, but I will be the last to tell you about it. In 1955, I was sent by the Instituto Nacional de Antropología to verify reports of earth tremors near the abandoned settlement of Zulha, deep in the jungles of Quintana Roo. The locals didn't call them tremors, though. They called them latidos de piedra, the stone heartbeats. At first, it sounded like myth, but myths, I've learned, are just warnings written in another language. We arrived by truck after 2 days of rain. My team was small: Lucia Morales, a brilliant but impulsive linguist, Captain Herrera, our ex-military guide, and Tomas Ibarra, my assistant and cameraman. We set up camp near a hill half swallowed by vines and roots. The air was dense, wet, filled with the sound of insects, until night fell. Then came the silence. The jungle doesn't go quiet unless something older is listening. That's when we heard it, faint at first, like thunder under the soil. Then steady. Then alive. Thump, thump, thump. Herrera thought it was an underground river. Lucia said it was the echo of rituals long forgotten. But when I placed my hand against the ground, I felt it respond. It wasn't vibration, it was rhythm. Perfect, human rhythm. The next morning, we cleared the vines. What we uncovered was no ordinary temple. It was unlike any Mayan or Toltec design I had ever seen. Its base curved inward, as if molded by breath. The carvings showed a heart surrounded by serpents, each biting its own tail. Beneath it, a single inscription in ancient Yucatec read, "Feed it, so it remembers." We laughed nervously, pretending not to feel the tremor beneath our boots. That night, Tomas couldn't sleep. He said he heard whispering inside the hill, voices calling names that weren't ours. I told him it was just the jungle. He didn't believe me. Neither did Lucia. At dawn, we returned with tools to excavate the entrance. The soil bled. I don't mean it figuratively. The earth itself oozed a thick metallic liquid the color of rusted gold, seeping between our fingers. The smell was copper and rot. Lucia screamed, and Herrera dropped his rifle. The heartbeat grew louder, shaking the air, pounding against our chests. Tomas caught it on film. The exact moment the wall cracked open and a gust of hot air burst out, smelling like sweat and blood. Inside the fissure, the stone glowed, faint, red, and wet. That was when I realized the truth. We hadn't found a pyramid. We had found a heart that had forgotten how to die. The sound didn't stop after dawn. It rolled beneath the ground like a second pulse to the jungle. Soft, steady, deliberate. Every few seconds it would pause, as if waiting for ours to catch up. Tomas refused to go near the hill again. He sat by the camera reels, smoking nervously. "It's not wind, Doctor," he muttered. "It breathes when we do." Lucia was already sketching the carvings from memory, excitement outweighing fear. She pushed a strand of wet hair from her forehead and said, "This isn't Mayan. It's older. Maybe Olmec or something no one's documented. The language keeps shifting." Herrera just stood near the tree line, rifle in hand, eyes on the mound. "Whatever it is," he said, "it doesn't want to stay buried." By noon, the rain returned, soft and rhythmic, blending with the heartbeat beneath our feet. Every drop seemed to strike in sync with it. We began digging near the crack that had opened the day before. The soil was strangely warm. When our shovels hit stone, the vibration crawled up the handle like electricity. Herrera cursed under his breath and dropped his tool. Then a section of the wall gave way, revealing a narrow entrance, a slit no wider than a man's shoulders, exhaling warm air that smelled of copper and fruit left to rot. I leaned closer with my lantern. Inside, the walls glistened, as if coated in moisture. The light reflected off veins of gold running through the stone, but they weren't static. They pulsed. Lucia gasped. "It's alive!" Herrera scoffed. "Rocks don't breathe, señorita," but even his voice trembled. We crawled through the opening, one by one. The passage descended steeply, slick with condensation. My hands touched carvings as we moved, spirals, hands, eyes. They were warm to the touch. About 10 meters in, the tunnel opened into a chamber shaped like a ribcage. The walls curved inward, red and gold veins tracing their arcs. At the center stood a stone altar. No, not stone. It shimmered like obsidian soaked in blood. Tomas lifted his camera. "If this footage survives, no one will believe it." Lucia whispered something I couldn't understand. Ancient words, her fingers tracing the carvings on the altar's base. "Elias," she said softly. "It says this isn't a tomb." "What is it then?" She looked up, eyes wide. "A womb." The heartbeat thundered once, louder than before, shaking dust from the ceiling. Our lanterns flickered. Tomas stumbled backward, the camera's reel clicking violently. Then, from the wall behind the altar, a droplet of red liquid fell. Thick, heavy, warm. It landed on the stone and vanished, absorbed instantly. Another followed, then another. Soon the chamber began to drip as though the walls were bleeding. Herrera raised his rifle. "We need to leave." But Lucia didn't move. Her hand was still on the altar, pressed flat against its surface. "Lucia!" I shouted. Her fingers began to sink into the stone, not breaking it, but merging. The veins of gold beneath the surface flared, spreading up her arm like cracks in porcelain. She gasped, eyes rolling back, the pulse matching hers perfectly. I grabbed her wrist and pulled. The stone resisted like flesh, stretching, clinging. With one final tug, she broke free, collapsing to the floor. Her skin was slick with red, her pulse racing. Herrera fired into the ceiling. The echo drowned in the heartbeat. We ran. Outside, the rain had stopped. The jungle was still. Even the insects were gone. Lucia's arm was marked, thin gold veins glowing faintly under the skin. She said she couldn't feel her hand. Tomas wouldn't look at her. He stared instead at the entrance, which now looked smaller. The vines were creeping back, as if the jungle itself was sealing the wound we'd opened. Herrera cleaned his rifle in silence, muttering prayers from a soldier who had seen too much. I examined the golden residue on Lucia's arm. It pulsed, faintly, independently. That night, when everyone else had fallen asleep, I sat beside the mound with my recorder. The earth was warm beneath me. The heartbeat was steady, patient, waiting. For the first time, I realized it wasn't the sound of something trapped. It was the sound of something listening. The jungle never truly sleeps. But that night, it stopped pretending to be alive. No insects, no frogs, not even the wind through the ceiba trees. Only the heartbeat. Soft, constant, deliberate. As if something beneath us had finally found its rhythm again. Lucia didn't speak much after the altar incident. She sat near the fire, her left arm wrapped in bandages that pulsed faintly with golden veins underneath. Every now and then she would flinch. Not from pain, but from something deeper, like her nerves were listening. Tomas tried to film her, but the camera kept malfunctioning. The reel jammed, or the light dimmed without reason. "The lens fogs up even when it's dry," he complained. "It's like it doesn't want to see her." Herrera didn't find that funny. He was cleaning his rifle for the third time. "Tomorrow we go back," he said. "We report this. We burn the camp if we have to. Nothing this old should bleed." Lucia looked up, her voice calm. "You think it wants to be buried again?" Herrera froze. "What did you say?" She smiled faintly. Not her usual smile, but something fragile, detached. "The pyramid. It's alive, but asleep. We woke it up. And now it's listening." That night the air grew heavier. My lungs felt too small. When I tried to sleep, the heartbeat echoed through my skull, matching my pulse exactly. Then, It skipped a beat. So did mine. I gasped awake. The fire was nearly out. Across the camp, Lucia sat by herself, staring toward the mound. Her bandaged hand was trembling, pressing against her chest in rhythm with the sound. "Lucia," I whispered. She didn't turn around. Instead, she said softly, "Do you hear them, Elias? They're calling names." "Who?" She smiled without looking back. "Ours." By morning, Herrera was gone. His rifle was still there, but his boots were missing. Only a line of bare footprints led into the jungle. Tomas followed the trail with his camera until the tape ran out. He didn't find anything, just the same prints looping back on themselves, as if Herrera had been walking in circles all night. We called his name for hours. The jungle swallowed every word. When the sun hit its peak, Lucia fainted. Her pulse, or rather, the thing beneath her skin, was irregular, stuttering in strange intervals. I pressed my ear against her chest. It wasn't her heart I heard. It was the echo of another one, deeper, heavier, answering her body's rhythm. I didn't tell Tomas. He already looked like he was one sound away from breaking. Around midday, the ground began to move. Not shake. Breathe. The soil beneath our camp swelled and fell slowly, like a massive lung inhaling through the roots. The air shimmered with heat and the smell of iron. The trees tilted slightly, their leaves rustling without wind. Tomas screamed, "It's under us!" I grabbed Lucia and pulled her away from the tents as the ground cracked open, revealing a narrow fissure glowing red beneath the dirt. From it came a low hum, not mechanical, not natural. It sounded like 1,000 whispers layered together, chanting in perfect rhythm with the heartbeat. Tomas stumbled back, pointing his camera toward the light. "It's the same frequency. Look, Elias, the light matches the sound waves." He was right. Every flash, every pulse of the fissure, synchronized perfectly with the thump in our chests. Then Lucia spoke, voice flat, almost monotone. "It's learning." We followed the fissure to its source, a smaller mound 1/2 kilometer from the main pyramid. It wasn't man-made. It had grown. The soil had formed ribs, ridges, almost like cartilage. In the center, a small aperture pulsed faintly, exhaling steam. When I crouched beside it, the sound deepened, as if recognizing me. Lucia knelt too, her face pale. "It's calling him." "Who?" "Herrera." Before I could stop her, she pressed her glowing hand against the mound. Instantly, the light spread outward, tracing the surface like veins waking up. And then I heard it. Herrera's voice. It came from below, faint, distant, but unmistakable. "Help me." Tomas dropped his camera. "He's alive." But the voice that followed wasn't his. It used his tone, his breath, but the rhythm was wrong. "He's alive here." Lucia's body convulsed. The golden light from her arm flooded her veins, her eyes rolling back. The mound shuddered, splitting open slightly, and from within we saw movement. Shapes pressing against the thin membrane of red and gold, like faces beneath the surface. Herrera's, Tomas's, mine. We pulled Lucia back and ran, but the jungle didn't stay still. The trees bent toward us, roots shifting under our feet like muscles contracting. Tomas tripped, falling face first into a puddle. When I reached him, I froze. The water reflected his face, but it was smiling, eyes glowing faint gold. His real face was terrified. The reflection moved first. It raised its hand, and so did Tomas, uncontrollably, like a puppet. I dragged him away. The puddle rippled violently, then went still. He was shaking, whispering, "It saw me. It copied me." I wanted to tell him it wasn't real, but the pulse in my chest answered before I could speak. 1 beat, 2, then silence. And in that silence, I heard it whisper my name. When night came, Lucia woke. Her voice was softer now, her pupils faintly gold. "It's almost awake," she said. "The heart remembers us." "Lucia, what is it?" She smiled weakly. "Not a god, not a curse. Just something that forgot what it was, until we reminded it." She looked at me like she was seeing something behind my face. "You can feel it too, can't you? It's inside you now." I didn't answer, because she was right. Every breath I took echoed. Every blink came with a faint pulse. When I closed my eyes, I saw a red light behind them, and in the distance, beneath the soil, I heard my own voice calling back, "Elias, come home." That night I buried the camera reels under a ceiba tree. If anyone ever finds them, they'll hear the sound too, and then it'll find them. Because the heartbeat never stops. It only waits. We stopped pretending to sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, the sound was there. Not outside anymore, but inside. My heartbeat no longer felt like my own. It came from somewhere deeper, older, patient. Lucia had stopped eating. She sat near the fire with her back to us, murmuring words in a language I didn't know. Sometimes the syllables followed the rhythm of the pulse. Thump, thump, pause, thump. Tomas started recording her voice on his portable reel-to-reel. "It's phonetic," he said, "like she's translating something alive." I didn't tell him she wasn't translating it. She was repeating it. On the third morning, we woke to find the trees different. Their bark glistened faintly, as if coated in gold dust. When the sunlight hit them, the air shimmered with faint ripples like heat waves. Tomas placed his hand on a trunk. "It's warm." Lucia smiled faintly. "It's growing veins." He pulled back instantly, but it was true. Thin golden threads ran beneath the bark, pulsing slowly. Not sap, but light. Herrera's footprints had long vanished, yet sometimes I swore I saw him standing between the trees, perfectly still, just watching, his face hidden in shadow. By midday, Lucia collapsed. Her skin had turned feverishly pale, and those golden lines beneath her arm now webbed across her chest. When I pressed my hand against her wrist, her pulse was strong. Too strong. It beat twice for every one of mine. She opened her eyes slowly. "It's inside all of us now. Can't you feel it?" I said nothing. Tomas backed away, shaking his head. "No, no, it's her. It's using her." He grabbed the camera, pointing it at her trembling body. "I'll prove it. I'll film everything." But when he looked through the lens, he froze. His face drained of color. "What is it?" I asked. He lowered the camera. His hands were trembling. "She's not there. Through the lens, it's just the jungle." The ground rumbled then, not like before. It was breathing faster now, syncing with Lucia's heartbeat. The vines around the camp quivered, the leaves trembling in rhythm. And then the voice returned. Not through the air, but through the pulse. Each beat carried a whisper, pressing against my bones. "Remember us. Remember." Lucia sat up, her eyes glowing faint gold. "It's not angry," she said. "It's hungry." Before I could respond, she stood and walked toward the fissure we had uncovered days earlier. It was wider now, bleeding light instead of blood. "Lucia!" I ran after her. She stopped at the edge, looking down into the glow. Her voice was calm. "It wants to see itself again." Then she stretched out her arm, the one marked by gold. The veins lit up. The light from below pulsed in perfect sync. For a moment, the jungle went completely silent. Then, from the fissure, a shape began to rise. At first, I thought it was Lucia's reflection, but it wasn't mirrored. It was reversed, like the image had learned her from memory and rebuilt her wrong. Its body was translucent, threaded with gold and black veins. Its face, identical, but its smile, too patient. Tomas stumbled backward, whispering, "It's her, it's her." Lucia didn't move. Neither did her reflection. They stood inches apart, breathing the same rhythm, eyes locked. Then, together, they spoke, in unison. One heart, one memory. Tomas dropped the camera and ran. The reflection turned its gaze toward me, and for a second its eyes changed. They became mine. I felt my chest tighten, pain radiating through my ribs. My vision blurred red and gold. When I looked again, the reflection was gone. So was Lucia. Only the fissure remained, pulsing slowly, the edges slick with a golden residue that gleamed like oil in the light. Tomas didn't stop running until nightfall. When I finally caught up to him, he was crouched beside the river, muttering prayers through gritted teeth. "It copied her," he said. "You saw it. It made her twice." "The reflection?" He nodded. "No, the replacement. The jungle's making more of us." I knelt beside him. The river's surface rippled faintly. For a moment I thought it was the current, until I noticed the pattern. Thump, thump, thump. The reflection appeared again. Not Lucia this time, but Tomas. Smiling, he screamed. The sound was swallowed by the jungle. That night I stayed awake, listening to the rhythm beneath my tent. It no longer felt distant. It was under my spine, inside my ribs. Every breath I took felt shared, borrowed. When I finally looked outside, I saw golden light flickering among the trees. Hundreds of small veins glowing in the dark, threading the forest like arteries. At the center of it all, near the pyramid's base, the earth itself began to shift. The mound rose and fell slowly, pulsing in time with us. And just before dawn, I saw her, Lucia, or what was left of her. She stood at the entrance, her skin translucent, her eyes golden. She didn't blink. She didn't breathe. She only mouthed one sentence, over and over. "You woke it up." By morning, the pulse had spread to the sky. Even the clouds moved in rhythm. And when I looked down at my hands, I saw it too. Thin golden veins beneath my skin, glowing faintly with every beat. I'm not sure where I end and where it begins anymore. But I know what comes next, because in the echo between each heartbeat, I can hear it whisper. 3 hearts left. The jungle was no longer green. By the 4th day, every leaf shimmered faintly gold. The air pulsed with a metallic haze, thick and sweet like spoiled honey. The sky hung low, veined with faint crimson light. Tomas walked ahead of me, silent. He hadn't spoken since we saw Lucia, or what looked like her. He moved mechanically, one step after another, as if following an unseen rhythm. His camera dangled from his shoulder, its lens cracked. Every now and then, he would hum softly. At first, I thought it was to calm himself. Then I realized it was the same rhythm as the heartbeat. We reached the pyramid again by noon, or what used to be the pyramid. It had changed. The vines and stone had fused into something organic, smooth, ribbed, glistening. The structure rose higher than before, its base breathing slowly. The golden veins that once ran along the walls now pulsed beneath a thin, translucent membrane that looked disturbingly like skin. The entrance we had opened was gone, sealed over by living tissue. But from deep within, the sound persisted, slow, calm, deliberate. Thump, thump, thump. Tomas dropped to his knees, whispering, "It's beautiful." I felt my stomach twist. "It's not." He turned toward me. His eyes caught the light just right. For a moment, they gleamed gold. "Maybe you just can't hear it properly yet." We made camp nearby, though there was no day or night anymore, only the dull glow of the jungle's pulse. I kept the fire burning even though it made no difference. Heat no longer mattered here. Tomas sat by the fire, staring into the pyramid. "You know what it told me?" he asked suddenly. I didn't answer. He smiled faintly, the expression wrong on his face. "It said we're not explorers. We're cells. It was dead, and we brought it back. That's not true, I said, trying to sound firm. It's manipulating you. He shook his head slowly. No, it's remembering me. Every heartbeat, it learns a little more. Then almost casually, he pressed his hand against his chest. When he pulled it away, golden light leaked between his fingers. I backed away. Tomas, what did you do? He looked up, dazed. It asked for a heartbeat. I gave it mine. The veins beneath his skin glowed brighter now, tracing every artery in his neck and arms. He didn't scream. He looked peaceful. I grabbed him, trying to shake him back to reality. But his skin was hot, not with fever, but with energy. I could feel it moving beneath him, like something crawling through his blood. Elias, he whispered, eyes unfocused. Do you remember the first beat you ever heard? The one before you were born? I froze. What are you talking about? He smiled faintly. It remembers that too. Then the forest changed again. The ground rippled, as if a massive wave rolled beneath it. Trees bent toward the pyramid, their roots dragging through the soil, merging into one another. The air vibrated, not from sound, but from rhythm. I clamped my hands over my ears, but I could still hear it. Not through air, but inside my skull. Tomas stood still in the middle of the clearing, his arms raised, light streaming from his palms. The vines around him began to move, wrapping his body gently, pulling him toward the pyramid. Tomas, I shouted. He didn't resist. He turned his head, half smiling. It doesn't hurt. Then the vines lifted him off the ground, pressing him against the living wall. The membrane beneath him shivered, glowing bright red. His body began to sink, slowly, soundlessly, into it. When only his face remained visible, he whispered one last thing. It's not outside anymore. And then he was gone. I don't know how long I stood there. The jungle seemed to breathe around me, not hostile, just patient. The pyramid pulsed softly, the rhythm slower now, calmer, like a creature resting after a meal. For the first time, I thought about leaving, but every direction looked the same. The forest had rearranged itself, a maze of veins and roots glowing underfoot. Every time I took a step, the light followed. Every breath I took echoed back through the ground. I wasn't walking on earth anymore. I was walking inside something alive. That night, I dreamed of the city. Not the ruins, the real one, before time erased it. I saw thousands of people kneeling around the pyramid, their chests glowing gold, their faces calm. They weren't worshiping, they were feeding it. And above them, a figure, tall, faceless, heart beating outside its chest. Every time it pulsed, the people mirrored the motion, perfectly synchronized. When I woke, my skin was damp, my shirt clinging to my chest. I looked down and saw a faint golden light flickering beneath my ribs. I tried not to panic. I pressed my hands against it, but the glow only grew brighter. Then I heard my own voice, coming from behind me. You see? It remembers you too. I turned around. Standing there was me. Same face, same eyes, same trembling hand. But the reflection didn't breathe. It just smiled. Faint, patient, almost kind. It reached out a hand. You can stop running. I shook my head. You're not real. It stepped closer. Neither are you. Before I could move, it pressed its hand against my chest. The touch burned cold. My heart skipped a beat, then another. The light beneath my ribs pulsed once, twice, then merged with its glow. I gasped, and it disappeared. But when I looked down again, the light was steady, calm, and the jungle was quiet. Too quiet, because the heartbeat had stopped. That silence lasted only a moment, before the sound returned, louder, deeper, all around me. Except now it wasn't beneath me. It was within. Every tree, every stone, every breath of wind. all beating in perfect rhythm with mine. The pyramid didn't need explorers anymore. It had become one. I can't remember how long I've been walking. Days, weeks, maybe years. The jungle no longer changes. It breathes, and I breathe with it. When I press my ear to the ground, I don't hear the heartbeat anymore. I am the heartbeat. There are no stars in the sky now, only veins of faint golden light that spread across the clouds like cracks in a mirror. When it rains, the drops are thick and warm. They leave metallic stains on my clothes. Everything hums: the earth, the trees, the air inside my lungs. Every sound, every rhythm, every thought, synchronized. Sometimes I think I can still hear human voices within it, like echoes trapped in a cathedral. Lucia's laughter, Tomas's humming, even Herrera's gruff breathing when he loaded his rifle. They're all here, woven into the pulse, not gone, just remembered. And me? I'm still pretending to be separate. I reached what used to be the pyramid this morning. Now it's something else entirely. A mountain of golden tissue stretching into the clouds, its surface smooth and wet, breathing in slow intervals. Every pulse sends ripples across the earth, bending the trees in waves. At the base, I see faces forming beneath the surface, half submerged, half alive. They shift slowly, eyes opening and closing as if dreaming. When I step closer, they move in unison, following me. Not with anger, not even curiosity. Just recognition. I realize what they are. Memories. Every person it ever touched. Every explorer, every villager, every creature that heard the sound. The pyramid doesn't kill, it absorbs. I find a place to rest at the base, near where we first entered. The air is warm, thick with a scent like blood and flowers. The ground hums beneath my palms. I close my eyes and hear it speak. Not in words, but in rhythm. The same rhythm I first heard that night by the fire. Thump, thump, thump. It's not just the sound of life. It's communication. A question, asked endlessly across centuries. Do you remember? I whisper back. I do. Instantly the pulse slows, as if listening. The ground beneath me softens. The membrane that covers it begins to glow, threads of gold spreading outward from where I sit. I feel it inside my chest, the warmth rising, my veins igniting like wires. It's gentle, almost merciful. Every fear, every ache, every thought dissolves into rhythm. Lucia once said it wasn't a god. She was right. It's older than that. Older than worship. Older than death. It's what comes after. As the glow spreads, I see my reflection in the golden surface. My face looks younger. The lines smoothed away, the eyes brighter. But there's something wrong. The reflection moves a heartbeat too late. Then it smiles. Slow, knowing, familiar. It raises a hand and places it against the surface. I do the same. The membrane ripples. The two images merge, and for the first time, there's no difference. I don't know which side I'm on anymore. The jungle responds. Every leaf, every branch, every blade of grass shivers. The air vibrates. The sound grows louder, deeper, more complete. The rhythm spreads beyond the forest, through the soil, into the mountains, across the rivers. I can feel it reaching far away, beneath villages, beneath cities. People stop and listen without knowing why. Their hearts hesitate, once, twice, then fall in sync with the sound. The world is learning the pattern again. I try to speak, but words no longer work. My lungs move in rhythm. My blood hums with golden light. My thoughts echo back to me like ripples. Thump, thump, thump. Each pulse brings a memory. Lucia's voice, laughing. Tomas filming. Herrera shouting. Then others. Voices I've never known, lives long forgotten. I see civilizations that came before us, kneeling around this same pulse. They fed it with their blood, their memories, their hearts. And when they were gone, it waited, patient, eternal, until we came, until I came. The ground opens beneath me, not like a wound, but like a mouth sighing in relief. Warm light pours out, pulling me closer. I don't resist. As I sink, I see the faces again. Lucia's among them. She smiles, her eyes kind, her skin gleaming gold. "It's not death, Elias," she whispers. "It's continuity." Her hand reaches out, glowing brighter. I take it. The warmth spreads. My body softens, melts, merges with the rhythm. The heartbeat slows. One final beat echoing across the world. Thump, thump. Then silence. When the sound returns, it isn't mine. It's everyone's. Every creature, every gust of wind, every wave against the shore. All moving together. The pyramid is gone. The jungle is gone. Elias Navarro is gone. But the world still beats. Steady, calm, eternal. And if you ever stand in the ruins of Zulha, if you press your ear to the ground, you'll hear it too. The last pulse. Still alive. Still waiting for someone to listen.